Hi, this is Ron Ritchie. We're playing the Hunter Classic on PC. Today we're on Timber Gold Trails. We're going to be doing a brand new updated mule deer hunting guide for 2020. And the reason we're doing this today is because there is a competition on this weekend called the King's Challenge. So everyone's going to be hunting mule deer this weekend and taking part. Now I thought I'd make this new guide to help new and old players on how to hunt mule deer. And it's very easy. We start from this lodge. I'm going to be covering both for players without tents and with tents. So you go to where this arrow is, and on my right hand side often you will get a call from a mule deer. It's not 100%, but often you will get a call in this kind of area. That's why we stopped at this arrowhead. If you get a call, go and investigate it. That goes without saying. If you don't, carry on down the road towards our next location. Now this is for people who obviously haven't got tents. That's why we're going to walk down this road towards the tent to this hotspot area for mule deer. You often get Rocky Mountain elk in this area as well, and I have got a tree stand where my tent is. It's a very good area, so make sure you check this out if you're after mule deer or Rocky Mountain elk. I'll just mark it out in pink, this big area. The mountain and the two ponds especially are really good. So when you fast travel here or walk here, just be aware of those areas. So we've gone from the lodge to that arrow point there. We've checked that location. You either have or haven't had a call to investigate. Then we've moved to this area on foot, or we can fast travel from the arrow point to my tent. I'm just showing you the areas where the mule deer will probably call from or be. So if you have got a tent where my location is, or want to put a tent there, you fast travel from my arrow point straight to that tent. And there you go. So you can go on foot there, or you can fast travel there. It doesn't really matter how you do it. It's just for people with tents and without tents how to do it, how to get to this location and go to that location, because it is really good. So that's pretty simple to follow. We've started from 11 AM. Let's just make that clear. I am going to be hunting this area in a minute as well, so don't worry about that. We're just making it as clear as possible what you do, so I get you some trophy mule deer. I want you to get some real big monsters and be confident in going to hunt mule deer. That's the whole purpose of why we're doing this trophy hunting guide for mule deer. So just check all these locations in this circle marked. Put a tree stand up if you want. You don't have to. You can put a tent there, or you can just carry on and just follow it on foot. Next is this pond we're going to. It's a small little pond, but it's really good for mule deer. I've had some really big ones there, and I do like these two little ponds. Once we've come from this middle location, I have had some really good results there, and there are often mule deer all around these two little ponds. So that pond, then over to the right to this pond. Then what we'll do is, when we've finished hunting that pond, what we'll do is we'll fast travel to this tent. Now you're probably thinking, why are you fast travelling to that location when you're so close to it? Doesn't that seem like a waste of a camping supply? No, it isn't, because when you fast travel to that location, you often trigger a call from an animal, and it could be a mule deer, so that's why you do it. That oblong is really good for mule deer. There's a lot of mule deer in this area. There is other animals, but the probability is you will probably get calls from mule deer, or you will see mule deer in this area. And I've got a tree stand right next to my tent. So the guide is pretty simple there. We've come and covered most of the little ponds. The ponds in the middle are really key on Timber Gold for finding mule deer. The river is quite popular as well, but as you can see, what I've designed here, came up with to show you, is quite simple to follow, whether you're on foot or whether you fast travel to tents and hop to them. Whichever way you do it, this will get you mule deer, nice and simple, and you will get some big mule deer doing this. That's why I've come up with it, and I will get some big mule deer doing the video. That's to show you it works. And we're going to visit all these locations I'm talking about now and show you the proof of the pudding and show it you working. There's no point in making guides if you can't show it working, and that's the whole point of it. So off we trot. So we're going to walk down this path, get to about where the arrow is on the map, then I'm going to fast travel. Now I know it off by heart, so I run a certain amount, wait for a call on my right. If I don't get a call on the right, then I carry on, then I'm going to fast travel to my tent in a really good middle hotspot area. Now it's either going to be a Rocky Mountain elk or it's going to be a mule deer, which is going to call. I'm hoping it's a mule deer. A lot of the time it is, because the King's Challenge competition's on, and that's what we're after. That's the criteria, what we're going for. We're going for a big mule deer, and hopefully one can bag you a really nice one, just to show you that this guide does work and it will help you out. And that's the whole point why I make these guides. So there you go. We have got mule deer calling, but they're females. The kind of location we was talking about. So that's to be expected. It can be females, it can be males. It's females this time, so I'm going to ignore them. You can explore that. There might be some males there, but they're females, so I'm not feeling that. I'm going to continue on, because if it had been a male, I would have checked that out. Right, we're getting to a sort of area where I'm going to fast travel. You can continue down the road on foot to where we're going, but there we go, we're going to jump. Fast travelled, and there's a call, and it's a mule deer. Like I said before, that's one of the reasons why people fast travel to tents in key locations, because it triggers a call often. Right, so we've got a mule deer. He's just sort of the other side of the pond. I'm going to mark roughly about where he is. That needs to be a bit further, and look what it is. Where I told you to walk through, that's where the mule deer is, and often they are there on the other side of the lake. So what we're going to do is move from my tent up to my tree stand. We're going to call it. Now I just call every 30 seconds to a minute and just keep him coming towards you. The mule deer are often in groups. They can be on their own, groups of 3 or groups of 5. That's normally what it is. The 3 to 5 groups of mule deer, so 3 of them, 5 of them, they're often called the brothers. That's what the old vets call them. It's quite common. Other species have it as well, like elk, but often you will get 1 or 2 really good scorers of the mule deer in these kind of groups. But what you're looking for is the big one, and if you get the smaller one, it's a bonus, isn't it? But sometimes it's just 1, sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 5. So there he is. There's one of them. Now is he a good one? It doesn't really matter if he is a monster. Hopefully we will get a 200 pluser during this guide. But it's just to show you where the mule deer are. If you go to locations where mule deer are, sooner or later, if you put the time and effort in, you will get a big one. That's just how it works. You will get a big trophy as long as you hit the locations where that species is that you're going after. So what we're doing now is we're scanning 360 to make sure there's nothing we haven't seen in the area before we shoot. We have got a 300, we have got a bow. I'm going to shoot with a 300 because that's going to take quite a long time to come in. But if you're hunting at your own leisure, you can hunt with a bow from this tree stand, or you can shoot with a rifle. It's really up to you, but I'm going to shoot it with a rifle because I know that's going to take probably another 10 minutes to get underneath this tree stand, and I want to just show you the guide. I don't want to spend 10 minutes waiting for something to come in when we can just kill it in a minute and then proceed and show you more detail in that time. Now we know the mule deer is coming in, so look where the mule deer is coming from, exactly on my mark, so we know exactly whether you come on foot or fast travel, the mule deer is coming to where exactly we want. Once we've been there, we're going to go to the 2 ponds, fast travel to my tent to finish the hunt. But as you can see, it's pretty easy to follow, and that's the whole point of why I'm making this guide. Repeating some of this, it might seem a little boring, but once you've done this a couple of times, got this in your mind, you will start smashing big trophy mule deer, and that's all I want for you. I want you to get big trophy mule deer. 240s, rares, non-typical mule deer, and that's the reason why I do these guides, to help people out, and I hope you get the massive trophies you really want to get. It's nothing better than when I do a guide and someone's like commented, I've gone on this guide run, 2 minutes in I've got a such and such trophy. I'm so happy, and you know that all that time and effort you put in to make the guide has worked for someone else as well, and that's the real reward from doing this. So I've looked around, we've checked 360, we've checked over where he is. There's no groups of mule deer with him. It's just a small little male, which we'll take because, like I say, he's come from the location exactly where I predicted he would do before getting there, so we know it's current and it's working. That's the whole reason why I've revisited a lot of guides for 2020, and I'm going to cover every animal in the Hunter Classic to just show you they're all up to date. Everything what I'm saying works, and you know it works because I'm going to show it you're working, and that's where we're going to get results, and we know everything's current. So we're just checking to make sure there's no others sneaked in, and you often get side flanked by other animals, and I can't see anything else. We've done our best to check to make sure. We had a call from a female Rocky Mountain elk, but we're not after those, so we're not really bothered. So I think it's time to get the 300 and dispatch of this small mule deer. He's no competition winner. Come on. Just going to wait for him to stop, and then we're going to finish him, and then move on to the next small pond behind me, which is a really good location. There he goes. And he's down. Nice simple shot from the tree stand. So we'll go over and collect him, and then we're going to move on and hopefully get a really big mule deer while we're doing this. I do love mule deer. I've done a lot of videos on mule deer over the years, but recently I haven't done many on them. And the funny thing is, they're one of my favourite species. I always say this, that's my favourite. Everyone says it when they're YouTubing or streaming. Yeah, one of my favourite species, one of my favourite species. This is actually one of my favourite species. Spent a lot of time hunting them, getting trophy mule deers, real big monsters. One of my videos many years ago was called Mule Deer Monsters, I think it was. And I just put absolute monsters in it, and I put a lot of time into that video. It was quite popular as well, so check that out if you've never seen it. It was a really old one. It's about 5 or 6 years old, but some of the videos I've done on the mule deer, like I say, there's a bit of extra love in those because mule deer is one of my favourite species. Genuinely, it really is. So we've come to this next pond. I'm going to check around it. Hello. Now right, we've got a mule deer over there. He's on his own, not in a group. But that's a pretty decent one. In fact, that's a really good one. That's well over 200, and that's what we're after. In competitions, mule deer comps, you want like 220 above. If you want to place, 230 above to be top 3. And do you know what? That could be up there. That could be like 220 plus. Could even be 230. So hopefully we can get a good shot on him. Now as you look at this pond, that's quite a long shot actually. It's probably 300 meters flat, borderline sort of like draw distance. So we've got to watch what we're doing here, because he might pop out of draw distance, because it's quite flat here. What we'll do is we'll go round to the left, try and call him, but that might not work because of the distance. So we're going to try and get him within our distance to call him in and lure him in. If not, he's walking to the right. Now our next location is the pond on the right, and like I say, that's one of the reasons why you check these two ponds, because if they're not here, they're on the right, and then they often move from this pond over to the right and sort of the middle area where the river is. So if you cover those 3 areas where my tent is and these 2 ponds, you've covered all the areas where the mule deer are, and as long as you don't spook them, you should get a nice mule deer. As long as you keep repeating it, be precise and put in the effort and time, you will get the trophies. There's no doubt about that. That's all it is. It's often time, effort, reward and homework. Put it in and you will get the trophy animals. That's how you get it in this game. And that's why it's so rewarding when you do get it, because often a lot of the really big trophies, you put in the work to get them, unless you get really lucky, spawn somewhere and there's just one near. But the majority of the time it's often down to time, effort, reward, homework, and you get one. That's often how it is. I'm just watching which way he's going. He's going to the right into these woods. It's been quite hard to take a shot on him from this location. I was hoping the call might draw him towards the bank, but it doesn't look like it is. He looks like he's going towards our next location on the right. So what we're going to do is we'll go back the way we came, and we're going to cut him off. And hopefully by the time we crouch walk through this woods to the right of the pond, we see him there. If not, he will be near where my tent is. So we've got two ways of getting at him without spooking him and not taking a bad shot here. See, look, we can't really clearly see him. Quite thick trees. So we'll move on to our next location. Let's just look and remove the areas we've covered. What we're going to do. So we've gone basically from this marker. Just show you the boxes. We checked that area. There was a female mule deer that called. We fast travelled down to this tent. And then we walked down to where we are now. Remember, you can walk to that area there and then walk there. So the people who haven't got tents, don't worry, you can still do this exact same guide. You just have to visit the exact same areas as the tents. It's that easy. So we've got that all dialed in. Fast travelled there, and we're at the pond now. You can see where I am. This is mainly for the new players, so they understand what we're doing here. But obviously some veterans and some people just don't hunt a certain species, so it's good to try and learn them all, and it makes you a better all-round hunter. So we're going to move to this pond next. Now I'm hoping the big one we've just seen coming from that pond we're at now has gone to that pond, so that's what we're hoping, and then we'll hunt that pond, then fast travel to our tent. Now if he's not at this pond on the right, he will probably be around my tent. That is the plan. I'm hoping it will work. If not, we're going to have to track him down on foot, which I'm not too worried about. We haven't spooked him yet, and we know it's roughly going in those kind of two areas. But all this area here is prime mule deer area. It's a really good area. The middle and the oblong, focus on those because you will get big mule deer from those. Right, here we are, and I have spotted a group of mule deer. Now I'm not sure if the big male is with them. I don't think he is, but there is a nice mule deer I've seen. I've already called them. There's a few mule deer coming in, smaller ones. There's 5 in total, but there's a really nice one there, but it's not the one we've seen. He's up to 205, so he's going to be about 180 to 190. But we'll take him out anyway while we're at this location. Just get a little result on the leaderboard for the competition. It's not a monster, but it's quite a nice example. But it's more to show you that there's mule deer in the area. We took him out, and like I say, the big boy was after, who is about 220, 230ish maybe, he's not here. So he's probably where my tent is and where the river is. There's a bridge right next to my tent, and 100% honestly, every time you go there, there's always mule deer in that area. Every time you visit near that bridge, and that's why I've got a tent there and a tree stand there. How's your Hunter Classic hunting been going, and your Hunter Call of Wild hunting going? Have you had any big trophies? Drop that in the comments. I want to hear about it. I love reading in the comments what you've had. It's great to see other people playing the games that you play and they're getting trophies, they're putting the work in, and it works out. It's always great to do that. Sometimes it's interesting as well when someone can't get something and you give them little tips and it helps them and it works out. Here is our mule deer. What's he going to score? Little spine shot, 189. So ideally you want a 200 plus. But he's quite a nice example of a mule deer. Get a little trophy shot with him. It's just to show you this location working, do you know what I mean? It's not about getting a 230 at every place I visit. That's literally impossible. It's more about showing you where the areas where mule deer are and just showing you working and explaining how they work. So we fast travel to our tent here, and this is our last location, and I've just had a call from a mule deer. I'm in my tree stand where I'm marked, and I think it's the one we're after. You know, the really big one we spotted at the pond on the right, and that is big. That is very big. What's he going to score? Let's have a look. 220 to 245. This is a potential comp winner. And these are the kind of mule deer you come on timber gold for. And he's down. We've used the compound snakebite boat, and it's a giant muley down. And that's what you come for. So I'm hoping this guide's helped you out. Get mule deer. It will work. Just follow it. Keep doing it, and you will bag a really nice mule deer. What's his score? He scores, come on, 231. So that's a really big mule deer. Really happy about that. I've enjoyed doing this mule deer guide for 2020. It's updated. You know it's current. You know it works. So good luck in the King's Challenge mule deer competition this weekend. I'm Ron McTew. Please subscribe to my YouTube channels, and thanks for watching. Bye bye.